All right.
Hi,
Here we go.
we're back.
Yeah. Episode 7. We've made it to 7.
Yep.
Can you believe it?
Yes and no.
Yeah, we were like, I was putting in that info into so that way, the titles would appear correct on the episode. And we were like, I was going, ooh, 207, like season 2, episode 7. And you were like, wait, we've done this 7 times now?
We've done this 7 times. It's like 1 month and 3 weeks.
Indeed.
Well,
So I know for sure we're going to talk about at least one thing before we get to our book review. But
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure there was nothing else I missed that was major. Just in case there were some major things that broke through at the last minute before we went live. Because you never know.
I should probably start doing a little bit more research before we do the shows.
Okay, it's actually a good thing I looked
But,
because today,
today.
according
Okay.
to Star Wars Newsnet, I haven't looked at the article yet. I just see the title.
What's the title?
Rumor: new kid-focused High Republic live-action series in development.
Okay.
Which kind of is fitting with the book that we read today.
I will. God, please tell me the word rumor is in big bold letters.
Yeah, it's a rumor.
Yeah.
But we do know, at least we have been confirmed that High Republic shows will exist because the Acolyte is going to be High Republic. It's going to be late High Republic, like it's going to be like as you get closer to the prequels era, but it still fits in the High Republic era. So like it's not surprising if we get High Republic live action shows. Let's see. So according to this article, and I'm just going to read the article, so excuse me, just because we didn't. This is new, and we didn't get to research this beforehand.
This was posted like 10 minutes ago.
Let's see. It doesn't say the time. Actually, I don't see the timestamp. I just see today. I've also been busy today.
Yeah.
This is why we're running late.
It's hot off the presses.
Let's see. High Republic era. While Phase 1 was told on the page, future stories are going to be branched out into different mediums because we know the Acolyte. We also know that unless the game gets canceled, we know we're getting Eclipse. Which it might get canceled just because of the company behind it.
Yeah, maybe not.
But as far as we know, that game is still being made because nobody's said otherwise. So that's at least 2 things outside of like books and comics that are becoming High Republic content. Cinelinx, I don't know Cinelinx that well, so I can't speak on their like how often they are accurate on their accuracy. I can research them another time, but Cinelinx is reporting that a new High Republic live-action series is in development for Disney Plus, with a focus on younger heroes. Therefore, the primary cast will consist of kids in their preteen to teenage years. Cinelinx notes that they had heard from multiple sources that the basic idea behind the series is Stranger Things in space. I feel like I know what would be perfect for that, and you probably are there with me. The Dringir.
Yeah. Fucking
Dringir chasing after children. Let's do it.
Evil tree people.
If the show does follow in that vein, adults should have confidence the show isn't strictly for younger audiences. I mean, the fact that it's on Disney Plus means it's for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. There's
fun for the whole family.
Yeah. Their sources also say that a member of the publishing team is on board to help with the story. So somebody within the this side of the creation of High Republic is going to be involved. And it seems that Star Wars Newsnet is also in agreement with us that Dringir makes sense based on that description. That's them going into speculative like we will. So if obviously it's rumored at this point, there is no official confirmation. Lucasfilm hasn't come out and said, "Hey, we're making this show yet."
Yep.
But would you want this show? I kind of do. I want High Republic content. I'm ready to see it on the screen.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Especially since it's not the only piece of High Republic content, so maybe you're not interested because of the kid angle, but Like,
I was going to say,
but also we've
no.
learned that kids can be good main characters.
Yeah, they can be.
It depends on your cast.
Yeah.
I mean, Stranger Things is a good example of a good kid-focused show that's for everybody, not just kids. So the fact that Cinelinx is claiming that it's described this way is kind of in the right direction, I think.
Yeah.
I would like to see maybe a spooky type show, I guess.
Yeah,
that
I
would...
asked you earlier, has Star Wars like ever ventured out into
Yeah, you've
horror?
asked me before, yeah. And all I could answer was in books.
Yeah.
And in comics. Because they have so something that's canon is every year they've since canon reset, IDW has published, because IDW also does the comics along with Marvel. Marvel does the mainline stuff, but IDW also does their own stuff. And actually, you have High Republic Adventures I gave you. That's IDW. IDW runs the Adventures line of Star Wars comics usually. And every year they've done a Tales from Vader's Castle sort of series where they do like go to Vader's Castle on Mustafar, and then we tell a bunch of scary stories, a la like, kind of like Are You Afraid of the Dark sort of thing.
Yeah. Except you're not.
Except you're in the universe where the thing could have been a true story very easily.
And you go, and do they actually go to?
They go to Vader's Castle.
What the hell is wrong with them?
I can't remember why they go the first time, and I forget why they go the second time.
Oh.
The most recent time, Vader is already dead.
Oh.
But Vinay is still alive. His like assistant that lives there. Which you've seen the Halloween special, so you know Vinay, the Lego Halloween special they did recently.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Vinay is like Vader's assistant that lives there. Yeah, they go there because Vinay is trying to bring Vader back. Because they've all been receiving nightmares, which is what the scary stories we got that year were what their nightmares were. And Vinay was using dark side magic to give them nightmares.
Yeah, go to the magic Satan castle.
Or else you'll keep having nightmares.
Yeah, God. It's a real raw deal there.
It really was. I mean, one of them was already captured by Vinay, too, so they had to save him anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing we need to talk about... there was an update to that today as well.
Oh.
So let's start with the thing that I already knew we were going to talk about, since it's in the same line of track.
Yeah.
So they announced on the weekly Star Wars show that they do on the Star Wars YouTube channel. I forget what it's called. They announced a new comic. They announced a 5-issue run of a Obi-Wan comic. And that's supposed to start in May, I think.
God. Do I have to read that too?
Yeah, we'll read that.
Damn it. No, actually, I'll probably enjoy looking forward to that.
Yeah, and so it's supposedly going to go over the life of Obi-Wan from Obi-Wan's perspective because it's his journal. This kind of fits because we know that after Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the next show we're getting.
Is it after?
It's after 4.
Well,
the show, anyways.
No, I mean
before 4. Sorry, it's between 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
That's where I was like,
sorry.
What the hell did you do for 18 years?
So yeah, the Obi-Wan...
Sorry, 19 years.
Yeah, Lucas 19, yeah. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is going to be about that, and we're also going to get a little bit of that in the comic that's coming up.
I expect massive amounts of Obi-Wan sulking, being like, fuck.
Well, so we already have some canon events of what Obi-Wan's done while on Tatooine. We know at one point he stopped the Hutts from, like, robbing people of their water that they had farmed. Because basically Jabba was like, I have a new tax idea, a water tax.
On a desert planet.
I mean,
that sounds like a great idea.
Well, it actually is because moisture farming.
Yeah.
Water does exist, and Boba Fett actually, once you get a chance to watch it, will show you that there's other ways besides just the moisture farming to get said water. But there are ways to get water on Tatooine.
I know that's what.
And that's the point, is that that Jabba's like, I'm going to take a percentage of what little water you've managed to gather.
Yeah.
It's a power thing more than a I need the water thing.
Yeah, how does that work? Like moisture farming in general.
You grab it from the air. It's kind of like using a dehumidifier in a way.
Okay, I guess.
Or is it a humidifier? No, dehumidifier gathers the water. Humidifier bursts it out. Yeah. So it's like using a dehumidifier.
All right.
So then, yeah. Except they do it from the ground, a lot of it. So it's like gathering what little water is in the ground. That's why it's like connected to the ground most of the time. Some of it is from the air though too. So like it's a little bit of both.
Don't think I'd want to live on Tatooine either.
You definitely age faster. That's definitely something like living on Tatooine obviously does and has been confirmed to do.
Yeah,
like
it just makes you old.
You just look older. Like Obi-Wan. Look at Obi-Wan.
Well,
he's only there for 19 years, but he looks like he went from his early 30s to his 60s.
Well, I assume he's in his 50s at least by the time of A New Hope.
Yeah, but he looks even older than that.
Not really. Not to me, at least.
Alec Guinness looks a lot older than he should be.
Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness must age differently, considering they're two different people.
Well, yeah, we're also getting it. Well, yeah, but I'm saying like, for the sake of the story, there had to be a slight explanation, which is that people do just age faster because of the hot.
I guess
you're getting the hot sun on you all day.
Yeah,
and especially if you're active and go out.
Yeah.
Which, what are you gonna do? Sit in your home all day? No. That's
yeah, no.
That's not how you live.
Obi-Wan's choice of clothes is probably also not helping him since he's wearing that big fucking robe all the time.
I wonder, did he just go to the cantinas in that robe and be like, I'm not the Jedi that the Sith are looking for at this time?
I guess.
Because, how did nobody be like, hey, there's probably a bounty on Jedi. Let's call it in.
Yeah.
We know about that old Ben Kenobi. Sounds like an Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Maybe it's a case of, he just wore something different and just pretended to not.
Maybe.
And everyone kind of always knows, but at the same time, because it's in hut space, isn't it?
It's in hut space.
They're like, we're just not gonna say anything.
Yeah, because it's Jabba's capital. It's Jabba's. So it's hut space. But the huts have no love for the Jedi either.
But even then, that wouldn't make any sense either.
No.
I want an explanation, then.
It's okay. Maybe we'll get it in the Obi-Wan Kenobi comic.
Maybe.
I know. So for the comic, I know for sure we're gonna get some young. Because what I have made very clear from the beginning of the announcement of a Kenobi show that I'm kind of disappointed.
You want young Obi?
Yes.
You want moody teenager?
Well, specifically, I want Master and Apprentice Kenobi. So Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon going on adventures, doing their thing, becoming better friends, and I like that. I like that dynamic. Especially in Legends, there were some comics that I really like. That there's one that's a pun on Murder on the Orient Express. It's murder. It's something on the Our Orient Express.
Oh.
And so it's them investigating a murder very similar to that book. And then they did a sequel adventure that was here's another cool adventure that's Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
So I like that stuff. I like that era. Yeah. And while I love that Ewan's back, don't get me wrong, I'm glad he's back. And he probably could still pass for a younger version of himself if he just shaved, really. Because the beard is what really adds to his aging.
Yeah.
I've noticed, Ewan is one of those guys that he can appear younger if he wanted to. And even if that didn't work by itself, we have proof that Disney just owns, de-aging for actors. They just CGI it, and there you go.
Well, we've pulled you out of the actor pit for some de-aging juice.
But no, they just use CGI. But still, it's very easy for them to do it. And then you could still have Ewan on set and still have his voice. So it wouldn't be... And Liam might be where the problem is, because Liam is a little bit harder to get to look younger, I think. Mm-hmm. You could once again, CGI it, have Liam actually on set.
Imagine if they doubled down and like, no, actually, it was really old the whole time.
Yeah. And so, that's one of the news that came out. So, feeding into that same thing, we have an update on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about the comic, we might as well talk about the show. That, according to Star Wars News Net again, because that's where I get a lot of my Star Wars news, mainly because they're pretty reliable. We got an update that there was an accidental reveal of May of this year being the debut, which makes sense. So here's why it makes sense. Like here's all the stuff that adds up to it. So we know that obviously Star Wars Day is May 5th or May 4th, May the 4th, and obviously we know. Well, also May 5th is also celebrated as a Star Wars Day because May, the Sith, May the Sith. But usually May the 4th, Lucasfilm and Disney now, but Lucasfilm has always tried to do something on May 4th, and now since Disney bought them, they've still tried to keep that going. Where like, oh, we're going to do something special on Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
Last year it was they gave us Bad Batch, the first season, and here's the shows we know are coming out this year. We know Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming out this year. We know second season of Bad Batch is coming out. And we know Andor's coming out. And we know the third season of Mandalorian's coming out. So that's
that sounds like busy.
Yeah. So that's 4 other shows. And we already know Andor's late. We already know that it's quarter 4 of this year.
Oh, man.
And Mandalorian's also been pretty much said that it's going to be the end of this year. So that's 2 shows that we already know can't be in the May slot. And we know that something's going to be around that area of the year. Nothing's going to immediately air after Boba Fett, I don't think.
Probably not.
They're going to give that time.
Give a little breathing room.
They're going to give it breathing room for one, and they're also because Moon Knight starts after that.
Yeah.
So Disney's not going to want to overlap.
They're not going to want to overlap.
And they've traditionally not done that yet for Disney Plus.
Got to get that viewership in.
They haven't done it yet for Disney Plus, but I think they're about to. I think with the number, I mean, just look at the number of Star Wars shows I named that aren't even out yet.
Oh, God.
And that's this year's schedule. And then we've got Marvel shows that are coming out this year that I haven't named. I just named Moon Knight.
Oh, man.
I think She-Hulk is this year.
Okay.
I
assume there are gonna be others.
Yeah, there's others. So like, but that's like 6 shows this year.
Yeah.
Total for Disney that I can name off the top of my head. That's not naming stuff that I couldn't even think of right now. Like, even though I watch it, this isn't really Star Wars talk, but I watch High School Musical, the series. They're probably doing a season 3.
Oh.
They're probably going. They're probably going to. Because season 1 was good, and season 2 was pretty good, too.
Oh, God. No.
So they're probably going to do a third... What, you don't like me and Bartimus talking about High School Musical, the series?
Fuck that title.
It makes...
What did you just say to me?
It makes sense when you watch the show. It also makes sense out of the show. Like, it's basically about a school that's... Man, we are really going off.
Yeah, we're...
It's fine though. We're not on a time constraint this week once.
For once.
It's basically high school. So there's a high school that is
teaches music.
No, it's not. It's just it's a regular high school, but it's the high school where High School Musical was based at.
Okay.
So like like in the movie like in the real world they obviously went to a school filmed at that location. Yeah. So in the premise of this show, this is the school that was used. But they're also, funny enough, their mascot is not the Wildcats. But anyways, the premise is that a new drama teacher comes in who was a background extra in the film and decides she wants to put on the play of the actual High School Musical.
Oh boy.
So because obviously after the movie came out in real life, you could perform the musical at schools eventually. Like
Yeah,
you could license
eventually.
the musical out and perform it.
Yeah.
So she wants to do that.
Okay.
And yeah. And that's the premise of the first season.
All right.
That's why it's called High School Musical the Musical, because they're putting on the musical of High School Musical, the series, because it's a show.
Okay.
So High School Musical the Musical, the series.
Well, as interesting as that
But yeah,
sounds,
they're probably
this is a Star Wars
yeah,
podcast,
so
we're gonna shift focus.
So back to Obi-Wan, and why it makes sense that it's going to be May.
Mm-hmm.
Because probably Bad Batch won't reappear in May.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be Obi-Wan, Bad Batch, Andor, and Mando. I think that's the order we're going to get the rest of these Star Wars shows.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's just the ones that we know of. And I don't think we're going to get any more secret shows this year.
Probably not.
I think any shows we hear about now are going to be shows that are for the future.
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting Ahsoka. Like, Ahsoka's on the schedule, but that's not for this year. That we've already always kind of known that wouldn't be this year.
Yeah. That's for later. They're busy. They're working stuff out.
It's probably next year.
I can only imagine the production crew is sitting around cameras, messing with them with like wrenches and getting frustrated at them not working right sometimes. I know that's not how any of that works.
Yeah, so
but it does mentally appeal to me.
So here's why people think May.
Hmm.
Because Brandon San Giovanni, the enterprise program manager at Disney Plus, tweeted out and then quickly removed the following message. Our very own Obi-Wan will be saying hello there on Disney Plus May 2022.
So do you think he got the release date wrong for the NDA? Where he was like...
Now, somebody said, as mentioned, it's possible that this could have been mistaken news that had to do with the comic, but he said specifically Disney Plus. The comic's not coming out on Disney Plus.
That would be impressive, though.
And given that he works for Disney Plus specifically, and that his job is to be like content, like that he's in program management for Disney Plus, he probably knows when the show is coming out. So it makes sense.
Well, we know where he's going.
Well, he's getting a promotion, right?
Oh man. Right.
Sorry, Brandon. Thank you for giving us this news, though.
Thanks.
I hope you don't lose your job over it.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, that would actually. Yeah, like I'm being serious.
So, for real, though.
Yeah, for real. Like,
thank you, but also, we wish you the best.
Yeah. Let me make sure that I'm right on like the Disney programming, like the way it looks. Yeah. Okay. And so let's see. Did the
fucking?
Let me see what the update was on Newsnet, because there was an update and I didn't get to that. Because now on Wikipedia it's even saying May for Obi-Wan, so maybe they confirmed it.
Maybe not. Who knows?
They probably did. They probably came out and were like, "Yeah, let's just yep, here we go. Update. Hollywood Reporter. We saw a flurry. Let's see." Lucasfilm's own announcement. We saw a flurry of sites writing about a now-deleted tweet revealing the May debut of the highly anticipated Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. Our own sources corroborating the rumor, but it's not official until it's official.
The paperwork.
Oh, sorry. That's what Hollywood Reporter wrote, not Lucasfilm. So Lucasfilm has not come out and
haven't
said anything official, but it's pretty official.
They're like, we heard through the grapevine.
And it's like, no, this ain't no grapevine. This is like a grape that's on the vine telling us. This isn't like us playing telephone to find the news. No, somebody directly told us.
And then was like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, and then he was directly like, but don't say that I told you. Meanwhile, everybody spread that he told us.
Yeah.
So it's official, but it's not.
Yeah.
So we'll count this as not a rumor. It's May. Are you ready for May then?
Oh boy.
I mean, you haven't even watched Boba Fett yet. Not even the first episode.
Nope. I gotta go and get caught up on that.
Yeah, because in two episodes we're gonna be talking about that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, and then it shows Andor is mid of this year on Wikipedia.
So that's so.
Although I think it's gonna be later than that, because May is pretty mid to me. Like May's
maybe.
like the month before mid.
Maybe in not February. February is before May.
February's now.
Yeah.
February's now, and we're dealing with Boba Fett.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm teasing you.
It's not February with this.
Anyways, it's fine. It's fine. Were you talking about June?
Yes. There we go.
That's like the month right after May.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do a show immediately after. Also, I feel like if Obi-Wan starts in May, it's gonna go into June. And July would be weird too.
Yeah.
Maybe September, if they're trying to hit mid still, like mid to late 2022, so that way there's still enough time to do Andor and then do Obi-Wan. I mean, do Mandalorian.
Yeah, I guess.
Because maybe Mandalorian's December, since Mandalorian has pretty much been November, December-ish.
Yeah. I guess maybe you could do it in August, but that still seems a bit too early.
Yeah, it also depends where they put Bad Batch Season 2.
Yeah. I guess.
Maybe Bad Batch is the next show we're getting.
Maybe. Maybe not.
I don't know. Like, there's so many shows this year that I don't know where they'd put them.
We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. I wish they would just give us the months for all these shows so I could just schedule my life around it.
Oh, God.
It's like, cool, that's when that show's coming out. Great. I can move on. I know. Yeah. All right, so we've held off long enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk
caught
about
up with everything else.
Yeah, I don't think
it's now time for the book review.
Yeah, there's no more pop-up news.
Spoilers. I hope you're ready. As we both. So, first things first.
You want to continue talking about how much you hate the Nihil?
I fucking. Oh. You can. You know what? I'm fine with you pulling up the quote. The chat thing I sent you.
The Discord convo?
And it was right after I got done with this book.
Yeah. Which we finished it at the exact same time for once. I
finished it before you, but then again,
it does. This week I've decided that this doesn't count though.
This doesn't count?
No.
So I'm still technically
You're still the champ still. Okay. So, I tried to find a way to give them a digital copy like I normally do for these books. It was pretty much near impossible. So, and this was 2 days in to us already being like, okay, we got to start reading it. I had already started the audiobook at this point because I have the audiobook for every book that we read.
I
download
them on Sunday and I start reading on Monday.
Mm-hmm. And it was not till Tuesday he got the book.
It was not till Tuesday I got the book.
And I started
reading on Wednesday.
Yeah. Which by then I was already halfway through the book because for the audiobook it's a 4-hour book. Yeah. It's basically like 4 hours and some change. I assume to like sit down and actually read it, it's probably like 2 hours and some change.
It wasn't a lot since the book is only like 246
pages. It's a junior novel. It's for younger kids.
Yeah.
I think it actually tells the age group on it. I don't know. It doesn't matter though because I think the characters are still like.
Yeah,
It's still well written enough that I think adults can enjoy it.
I think it's in that the characters are in between like just getting out of elementary school to like about to end middle school.
Yeah, it's that.
Because I think their ages are like from 10 to 14.
So it's like well, the oldest is 16 because Vern is 16. Because Vern is the same age as Wreath.
Oh, okay.
Which that's gonna come up in a later book, not the one we're gonna read next, but a later book.
They look. Speaking of later books, they look fucking ready.
But Yeah, so around that demographic, I agree. And then the young adult novels, like our next book, are more on the finishing middle school, going into high school, maybe even throughout high school age.
Yeah.
And then you're like finishing high school is when you should theoretically already be reading adult novels if you aren't already, because like some people just read ahead of their
Some people read ahead.
like some people read ahead of their reading level, which I was one of those kids. I mean, I like to read. I don't think this show has proven that though. I think once we get a few more books in, then I can make that claim. Although after the next book, we're going to be avoiding books for 2 weeks.
Yeah. We'll get into why on another time.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So your quote that you gave about the Nihil, Caleb, never before have I felt that a fictional group deserves to be slaughtered in the most painful way possible to such an extent. And of course, this was no context to me.
He gets this message, and it's no context.
And so, of course, I'm thinking, well, this book only had like 2 groups in them, and one of them was a bunch of kids, and the other were 2 people. That's not a group. So I was like, are you talking about the Nihil, I hope, and not the children main characters?
Oh.
Nervous LOL. And he said, yes, the Nihil. And I was like, I wouldn't call 2 people a group. And he's like, I didn't mean those 2 specifically. I mean the whole group. I think I'm adding the correct tone to this conversation as well.
Like, fucking, I was very upset.
I mean, I think this is the least terrible of their war crimes.
Yeah, but I'm like...
But still a war crime.
It's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. So let's kind of get into the events a little bit. And while we're not in a rush, we're going to try to do better at streamlining these. I promised myself I would make notes on this one.
See, I never made such a promise.
But I never publicly acknowledged it, so there's that.
Well,
until
now.
But I'm going to definitely try, keyword try, for Midnight Horizon. So here's what. So of course we start with the hated group, the Nihil.
Yeah.
So we start with 2 Nihil that are basically on a job,
whose names I don't remember.
I will pull them up. I'll get everybody's names. That way we just have everybody's names. But yeah, they're basically talking about like what's just happened recently at this point.
Yeah.
So this is on the timeline.
I think
this is like this is after.
During.
So this is after the emergence has happened.
Yeah.
But like the rest of the events of the book have not happened yet. For Light of the Jedi, that is.
Yeah.
Which also puts us a little bit before some of the events of Into the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
For context.
So
at the end of the season, I'm gonna like pull up a whole like timeline for you.
Oh God. So I don't remember what these 2 Nihil's names are, but they're basically getting ready. They're basically about to sabotage this ship.
Yeah.
They're sort of just going over like, exactly what the plan is and how they're gonna do it. And our least favorite, Tempest, is apparently their super boss.
Yeah, Kassav.
Kassav.
Yeah, we'll go Kassav.
Call him whatever. He's dead now.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do?
Well, not yet.
Not yet, but he will be.
Yeah, in this book, he's not dead yet.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
And they're like, all right, he's gonna be so proud of us or some shit.
Yeah, it's Clyneth Da and Guishi.
Guishi and Clyneth.
Yeah, which Clyneth is the human one, and she's like noted by her hair.
Yeah.
Because she has, I want to say purple.
Yeah, I think so.
Like she dyed her hair.
Yeah.
And then Guishi is a Aqualish.
Big furry man.
Yeah.
But they're going. And so they go and they're like, it's time for us to sneak onto the ship and start fucking things up.
Magenta is her hair. So close enough, purple.
Yeah. I'm not a art major.
Well,
I don't know
that's according to the Wikipedia. It's magenta.
Yeah.
So I'm on the right track. I will go with purple still, because I think they say purple in the book at some point. Anyways, so yeah, they're like, all right, let's get to this job. This will get us
It's
paid.
not gonna be confusing with the 2 other girls who also have purple hair in this book.
Avon's hair is.
They are right there. You can look on the cover.
No, it's black.
Ah, well, my mistake.
Avon's hair is black because they mention it in the book. I was about to say, come on, you've read the book.
I read the book. I wasn't exactly paying attention to hair color that much.
Vern
Why
is,
the fuck am I arguing with you
yeah.
about this?
Vern, on the other hand, is purple hair.
Yeah.
There's Vernestra has purple no matter what. So, and speaking of, I guess we'll cut to Vernestra next because most of the characters are all connected immediately in this next section.
Yeah. So apparently, Vernestra is Stellan's apprentice.
Ex-apprentice, because former apprentice. I shouldn't say ex because she didn't quit. She graduated, so it's former.
Yeah.
Ex implies that she quit.
She gave up. She was like, "I'm done."
She pulled an Ahsoka. She's like, I don't want to be part of the Jedi anymore.
And so,
that's 16. But no, but that is a notable thing immediately is that she's 16 and she's already made a knight.
Yeah.
Most people are either beginning their trials now, or like in discussion of like, should I start taking the trials? Usually, most apprentices have not finished their trials until about 18, like 17, 18.
Yeah, that seems about right.
So
I figure you become an apprentice at either like age 11 to 12.
Yeah, generally speaking, maybe a little older, maybe 13.
Yeah,
like 13's like the max usually. And that's something notable about Ahsoka is that at first she's like 12.
Yeah.
And so like Anakin remarks that seems young, but in reality, it's probably not. But 13 is usually the start of like actual apprenticehood. Before that, you're a youngling and you're still learning the Force, but it's like you don't have a specific teacher. You just have a bunch of teachers. Kind of like it's kind of the difference between like I'm trying to think of like a schooling difference, but it doesn't really apply here because at school it's usually the reverse.
Yeah.
Usually you start with one teacher that just teaches you all the basics, and then you go up, and eventually you have different teachers for everything. So,
Jedi are weird.
Yeah, you would think you would want more teachers to teach you everything.
But no.
But no, they're like, no, you get one.
You get one.
You get one. Unless he dies, then we'll give you another.
God. It does. Yeah, master and apprentice. That is how this works.
Or they get offered to be put on the Jedi Council.
Yeah.
Which master and apprentice.
But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she's that's her notable thing. And so currently she's
like a prodigy.
She's a prodigy. So she's currently been put onto the Steady Wing, which is the ship we talked about, on assignment. Along with Jedi Master, I have the names pulled up. It's
is it Dylan?
Douglas.
Sorry.
Master Douglas. Also very but I get where you're going. It's a D name. It's very Earth human name. It's not even like a sci-fi name. It's very Douglas.
Go talk to Master Douglas. He'll teach you.
Can I call him Master Doug for short?
No.
Is he gonna teach me how to Dougie?
Maybe. I don't fucking know. He's not teaching Emery.
We haven't gotten there yet.
But
okay. I guess we're going to bring up that, yes, Douglas is the master of Emery.
Yeah.
Who has not appeared yet.
Emery hasn't appeared yet. So.
But yeah, Douglas also doesn't appear immediately, but he's mentioned.
Yeah.
Because currently, Vernestra is watching over the daughter of Republic Senator...
traitor bitch?
Yeah, Staros.
Yep, traitor bitch.
And the daughter being Avon Staros. Yeah. Which I immediately was like, oh yeah. That we didn't discuss this during our reading of War of the Bounty Hunters. They're the descent, or during our reading of, I guess, the third, which would have been, I guess, yeah, War of the Bounty Hunters would have been when this would have been brought up, because that was after we read Book 3, because we read Fallen Star, then War of the Bounty Hunters. But yeah, Staros, Sana Staros from the Afro comics is the descendant of this family of Staros. which I can.
Okay.
I guess does the Avon connection seem more similar than because I think Gira Staros is not anything like Sana.
No.
Gira is more like
I
traitor.
would say that Avon definitely
Has
shares
more of that Staros lineage
Yeah.
that gets passed on. Also, a little bit of spoilers, but thank you, Avon, for the creation of the laser beam for the Death Star.
You know, sometimes when you're a stupid kid, you're
Or too smart for your own good.
or too smart for your own good, your wonderment will get the better of you.
It's like,
Or maybe you thought you could do something great.
which that's
And,
fair.
Well, she was right. She did do something great.
Just a great disaster. 2. The Great Disaster 2.
But
Electric Boogaloo.
it's like, can you blame a person who invented, like, fireworks for the invention of firearms?
Yes.
You can, but is it fair?
No.
Exactly.
But yeah, I wanted to make the joke though.
Yeah. She is also partially responsible, but at the same time, it's
Like yeah, because I honestly, more than likely, if she didn't start studying she ends up studying kyber crystals.
Mhm.
If she doesn't start studying it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get back to the plot.
Yeah. So there's Avon and her
Robot
J6.
J6, yeah, J6.
Uh,
Which is the same model as another droid that's going to come up later, except the other model doesn't have their feet.
Yeah.
And it's basically a nanny droid that Avon used her brains to reprogram to
Mhm.
just do whatever Avon asks, essentially.
So this did prompt me to think about it, about how like droids are in Star Wars, and my conclusion that I reached is none of them have true free will.
Are you turning into? Because you watch Solo. Droid rights?
No.
Oh, you're not quite there.
No. And the way that was
Kiari would have fighting words for you
well,
on that.
me and Kiari disagree on a lot of things. I disagree with his whole, like, me and him are like, oh, the discussions we have had where I'm like, I don't care if the vampire helped the town. They fucking killed people. They gotta go. They can't stay here.
Is
And
that how you feel about last night with a certain character?
I feel
This has also become, I guess, more than just a podcast about these books. This is just our podcast.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think that's why people would be interested.
I think that
Let me add some context.
Some context
Just because I'm not going to assume that you watch all of our content. So, in case you don't, last night we went live. That's when we do our tabletop game, Tales of the Jedi, which is an adaptation of the Tales of the Jedi comics. But it's also a prequel to our Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic campaigns. And there's a certain character who I've had in all of our games now, all 3 of our games now, as of last night, who's a time traveler, and you may know who that character is if you've watched any of these other videos. I'm just going to put this. He's a main character in Knights of the Old Republic that did not get to be a main character in our version of it. That's the least spoiler way I can give that. That's a way that only people who really know the character. But yes. So he's met him once already in the Old Republic campaign.
In a different time, in a different
And in that
place.
one, he was using his real name.
Yeah.
Because he was not quite leaning towards evil yet.
Yeah.
The dark side wasn't as strong with him yet. But in that adventure, you guys tried to find immortality. I don't know why you don't trust him now all of a sudden, but okay. So we're going to jump to the Tales of the Jedi campaign where you now are playing a new character that's thousands of years before this event.
Yep.
So this character has now appeared, and he's kind of pitting both sides against each other.
Mm.
But he has his own goals. Now, whether those goals are good or bad, I'm leaving up in the air for you guys to kind of interpret. And I guess that's where we get to your point. So why don't you trust him?
I don't trust him because I realize he fucking conned me. But at the same time, I'm also like, that's also my fault for how much I went along with it.
But also, like,
But at the same time,
out of game though, I'm curious where this like distrust all of a sudden came from out of game, because like in game, in the last time you met him, he was very open about everything, and the only reason that something bad happened was not because of something he did, but because of like misinformation that you both had about the situation.
Perhaps I'm being unfair to him.
Of course, I'm also playing devil's advocate. You can distrust him if you want. I'm just curious of where you're coming from.
I feel like the distrust comes from like how coincidentally so much bullshit happened.
Well, yeah. Like in terms of like
the events
of that specific game.
Of that specific game.
So like how like, oh, you were able to go to the Sith Lord's compound and kill him, and
yeah.
That could either be because he's manipulating it or because of something else.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
However,
you also have to consider that. I guess this is also kind of giving something away, but it's also not.
Then
yeah, you also have to remember that he's a time traveler.
Yeah.
So out of game. Remember, he's a time traveler and he knows things.
He knows stuff that McCoy doesn't know.
Correct.
And that the rest of our group doesn't know.
Correct. And that anybody in the time period that he is now in doesn't know.
Yeah.
In fact, you could say he knows a good
bit.
Yeah. You could say that, it's almost like he's going back to his history.
It's like he's got the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah. Now that just gave me an idea for something to leave on his ship for you guys to find if y'all ever. Yeah, that would be fun. Okay.
But
you guys also are not going back because you guys are going to. Y'all are going to the Teta system.
Yeah.
Probably going to make your way to Coruscant afterwards because you gotta inform everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I guess back to the book.
Yeah, back to the book.
But it's fine that we do this because it's a podcast.
Yeah.
It's what people expect on a podcast, rambling.
So, who are we?
We just met some of them.
The thing that I was going to say about droids.
Oh yeah, droids. Yes.
They, like I said, they don't have true free will. Anytime it happens, it's because someone gave it to them. It never arises naturally. So I'm sorry.
But would you not say that the moment that they have free will, that's free will?
They have it after that, but since it's never given, it's never spontaneously created for them, it's not true.
But could you say you were religious, and of course I'm making an assumption here. Anybody that... Would you say that creationism as in... Well, not even just creationism. I guess the Big Bang, you could also argue, like... We were made in some way, whether, because I'm trying to avoid it being specifically about religion, because it could also be even scientifically, we were just made. Would you argue that technically that is not spontaneous either?
I'm not good.
That's
not what this is about.
No, you don't want to get into the philosophical debate of droid sentience?
Well, not right now. We have a book review to do.
You don't want droid sentience in our book review?
What I'm saying...
More than likely the mic caught that too. That's great.
Fine. For example...
Yeah.
You were born.
Yes, I was born.
How long would you say it was before you realized what you were in?
That's a toughie. Because, like, I would have to remember that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Most people don't remember that moment.
Exactly. But a droid can remember. That's why the memory wipes exist.
Yeah. Well, it's also a lot of the time used strategically, but yes. That is a part of it, is like, it's because people view sentience on droids as a malfunction and not not something that's just a basic right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
I'm not
mean
saying that the droids don't have a right to exist. They do.
no, yeah.
That's two different things.
But what? So you are droid rights, but you're also arguing that it's not a basic, that it's not something that immediately that it's a different type of right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like, no.
Like
that
it's weird.
example
It's
doesn't
a weird way to put it. Because you agree that droids have the right for their sentience.
They have the right to exist.
What about their sentience?
That is something for them to discuss with their maker. Which is a hard stance that maybe I shouldn't have said out loud. But the way that I'm well, what I mean...
It's gonna...
Oh, God, that sounds bad.
It's great, though, because that's gonna make great the audience is gonna eat this up. It's great.
If you could talk to God and ask him to take away your sentience, would you?
No.
Exactly, you wouldn't. But they never get that option.
No, you're right. But that's the problem. They don't get the choice.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. Now that we've discussed philosophy,
now that we've had our brief existential
droid crisis.
Yeah.
So we've met most of our characters. And they're Avon is basically being babysat by Vernestra. And of course Avon's like, you're only 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
Like you're 16, I'm 14. Why do you get to babysit me? And like,
that's a good question. I think the answer is
I'm the Jedi and you're not.
Jedi and you're not, which is stupid.
I'm the Jedi Knight, by the way, and you're not. Not just Jedi. I'm the Jedi Knight.
Yeah. I still don't like it.
And so of course
I understand
Avon,
it. I don't like it.
Avon picks on her, of course, because Avon has heard Master Douglas use the nickname Vern, and Vernestra doesn't like that nickname. Yeah. No. But of course, she can't tell a Jedi Master that she doesn't like the nickname, but she can tell Avon. Yeah. She's like, Avon, stop using that nickname. I don't like it. And of course, Avon, being the Staros that she is, because let's be honest, Staroses love to pick on people.
Yep.
Sana does it all the time. Wait till you read more Sana stories. She loves to pick on Han a lot. But yeah, Staroses love to get on people's nerves. So Avon is like, I'm just gonna dig in more. But yeah, so the reason they're on the ship that they're on is because they are carrying emissaries.
Yeah, because they're
on their way to the
Dolnan.
The Dolnan, yeah.
The Dolnans are debating
whether or not to join the Republic.
Yeah,
and they're on their way to Starlight Beacon to enjoy the opening ceremony.
Yeah, and see if maybe there is something to this Republic thing after all.
Yeah, because basically Starlight Beacon is this. We kind of talked about it, but we kind of talked about we talked about what the physical Starlight Beacon is, but it's beyond that. It's also it's a symbol.
And I both like it and I don't like it because there are two ways to look at. It depends on the view of the Republic.
It also depends on the people that live on the Outer Rim, which is where Starlight Beacon is operating. Because to the people of Outer Rim territories, you got one of two ways of viewing it.
It's either, oh man, the Republic's here, that's great.
The other is,
I don't want those Republic motherfuckers here.
Yeah, now
get them out.
Now they're conquering my homeland.
They're coming into my homeland.
Yeah, because it's almost like it's almost imperialization.
It basically is, but there is a cool thing.
But it's diplomatic imperialization. It's not.
Oh, I'm sure that's what it's been called in the past. No, I'm done with my controversies today. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that one's gonna put you in real hot water.
Oh, no, not that one.
But this one is more of like.
This one's actually a little bit better.
Yeah, this is actually them talking to the planets and being like, "Do you want to join us? We're not going to make you join us. Yeah. And if you don't want to join us, that's fine. We're still going to leave our people here to help you if you want the help. Because obviously we're helping everybody.
Yeah.
So because, Lena So's whole thing, we are the Republic.
Yeah.
That includes planets that aren't the Republic. And that's something that not a lot of people consider during this time. Some do, but it's not one of those.
But it's the rarity.
It's the rarity because
it's
for the most part people assume, oh, if you're a Republic planet,
Yeah.
you're the Republic. But no, it includes people that aren't the Republic, because the way Lena, anyways, has looked at it based on like other books, she doesn't appear in this book.
Yeah.
It's very much a matter of, well, they're still our neighbors, and we're still going to take care of them. Yeah.
Like, I think it's also helpful that Chancellor So is actually a good
Yeah,
person.
we
We've
discussed
had
this last
discussion.
week. Yeah, it was last week. Yeah. Last week we discussed this, that she's competent and good.
Yeah.
So the perfect two for a leader that's very, very rare.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that you almost never see.
Yep. Let's see.
But yeah, so
we have other people to cover.
Yeah,
we
we
keep getting sidetracked.
Well, that we actually we're on the right track though, because the Dolnans
are Honesty Weft and his dad, who I'm just going to call him Mr. Weft since I don't remember his name.
And they are also, we have along board the Pantorans are on the ship as well. They're the blue skin people from Star Wars.
So everyone's on this ship, and they're like,
well, before we get a little further, let's talk about Honesty and his father, because
Honesty
there is a very important discussion.
Yeah. So Honesty, on Dalna, there's this thing.
Basically, it's a warrior culture, just about.
It is, because they're the only people who've had like war in 100 years.
Yeah, and it's been consistent war.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the weird things. And everybody else is kind of like, oh, you mean the Dalnans, those guys who are still like actively practicing war?
Yeah, because and it's why like a lot of other people are kind of hesitant to bring the Dolnans in.
They're like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna bring everybody in who wants it.
Yeah, and we're gonna see if they want it.
And if not, then okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna make a good case for them to do it, but if they don't,
they don't.
And so,
but Honesty doesn't want to be here because he's basically like, Dad, I need to go.
Yeah, I need to go do my ceremonies and training.
Yeah.
Because basically he's about to take the big test to prove that it's basically his manhood test.
I did not see it that way. It was like, imagine if the career tests at school actually worked for anything.
I guess. But I think it's that along with like adulthood.
Yeah.
That's why I said manhood, but really adulthood, because everybody there takes that. Basically, he's a warrior, like man or woman. They're all fighters.
He's like, Dad, I don't want to be here. I have stuff to do back home. And his dad's like, I think you and your mother is also thinking you should go out and see the galaxy a little bit more.
Yeah. And it's just his dad on the ship, if I remember correctly.
His dad.
Yeah.
His mom is at home.
Very important.
Doing whatever she does.
But
I assume ruling the planet.
Probably, because I mean, you took one leader off. Somebody's got to be in charge.
Has to be there.
So yeah. And so like they get into a big argument. Over this, and
as you do with your parents sometimes.
Yeah, and it ends with basically, but not the words aren't said, but it's basically a "I hate you" sort of argument. One of those goes down where you tell your parents that you hate them.
Any like teenage media, you know what it is. I don't need to describe it. If you've been a teenager, you know what it is.
Yeah. So it's one of those arguments. It's very heated.
Yeah.
And so it ends with basically them with Dad leaving the room and Honesty crying. Because Dad's like, okay, well, we'll talk about this later. And yeah. So
about that,
yeah, so
it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so it turns out that our Nihil companions, Guishi and Clyneth, they have both snuck onto
and as they're going, and this is one of those times where I'm like, I, the reader, know what's going on, and I'm like, this is one of those times where, like, assuming like a tabletop game or some shit, what you should absolutely do
is just describe people, but not like say who they are.
No, like when someone is like a potential threat is described, I don't normally condone just going over and solving the problem immediately. However, if she had acted at this point, the events of the book would never have happened.
Yeah, because it was
Byrne gets like that the Jedi spider sense
Yeah,
thing
she
of
gets
like
the-
something's wrong.
She gets the Peter tingle.
Yep. And she looks directly at him. And he looks back and she's like, "Oh, I guess it was nothing."
Yeah. Was it Guishi she looked at?
It was
Yeah.
Guishi.
The most suspicious looking out of the two.
Yeah. And she's like, it's probably nothing. Which, good on you, I guess. But also,
Not really.
not really.
Way to take your Jedi training and just
Throw it out the window.
come on. You passed your trials, but you're also a child, so
Yeah,
we'll go.
so we'll cut you a little slack.
16 is still a child.
Yeah.
You may be a Jedi Knight, but you're still a child.
Yeah. And so they get on the ship, and everyone's like, all right, dinner time. Hopefully we'll have a nice, peaceful dinner.
And that's when everything
goes
is wrong. And then the opposite happened. It's like watching a Butch Hartman cartoon, and then the opposite happened.
The Nihil succeed for a little bit.
Yeah. There's basically
They
this.
managed to. So all the adults are gone.
Yeah. Well, not right away. Not all of them, but basically, so there's a little bit of, if I remember correctly, a bomb sort of goes off.
Yes.
And
Bomb
that
goes
opens a
off.
hole.
Mhm.
Some people actually they managed to hold everybody in.
Yeah.
Because Douglas and Vern and Emery is there, but I don't think he helped with this.
I guess not. Poor Emery.
Yeah, Emery made it to let's introduce Emery.
We should talk about him.
Emery is introduced at the dinner.
So Emery's thing is he's another one of the
He's an empath.
Empaths, which is good. Unfortunately, Emery is also like a giant comparatively for how old he is.
Yeah, because he's 13, I think.
Yeah, he's 13.
I think he's younger than Avon.
Yeah. He also is like from a planet with a pretty far out there planet. So
Yeah.
he's got a weird accent, and sometimes
yeah, the audiobook makes it clear of his accent.
they're like, he's got a weird accent. He's big for being a 13-year-old, so sometimes people will make fun of him, even though Jedi aren't
supposed to.
so he gets made fun of.
Yeah.
And Emery's thing,
and-
or the entire book, is I'm not sure if I'm cut out to be a Jedi.
Yeah. Even though his master
is very
Douglas
much,
was very much like, hey, we should start talking about maybe you start your trials as well.
Yeah.
Obviously that once again is very similar to the Weft family conversation. That conversation's not happening. But yeah, Emery on top of the empath, but on top of that, his empath issues also similar to the one time for Buryaga, but we've never seen that since. Every time, in the case of Emery always feels the emotions of the people that he's feeling the emotions of. Like, so he'll like notice somebody's emotions, but then he'll actually have those emotions, and that's a problem that he's been dealing with because it's not really completely the Jedi way because you gotta.
Well, it's not good. Like, you got super hearing, but you can't turn it off.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Would suck.
It's one of those cases where you're supposed to learn to control your emotions, but when you're feeling everybody's emotions,
you don't actually have that choice.
Yeah,
it's unfair to him.
He
tries,
and I think but as the book continues, he does learn
eventually.
Yeah.
Another thing that came up.
But yeah, and of course Avon's like, I like this Jedi better. She likes Emery better.
Yeah, because Emery's not a fucking stick in the mud. Like,
hey, whoa. Vern is not a stick in the mud.
Oh, that's how she... No, that's the general vibe from Avon.
Yeah, that's just Avon's thoughts, so
like,
yeah.
God. Vern won't let me do anything fun. Maybe if I'm getting good with Emery, I can actually do some things.
Maybe I can look at his lightsaber, because Vern will never let me look at her lightsaber.
Because,
which there's a reason for that, and we'll get to it.
So, dinner does not go as planned.
Yeah. So yeah, the bomb goes off,
Everyone is safe.
but everyone's safe initially. Unfortunately, it's also a raid.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said that with that much enthusiasm, but you know what?
So obviously the Nihil are like, well, if the bomb doesn't work, we're also just gonna raid them.
Yep. And so they're like, okay,
time to shoot some people.
Yep. Goodbye.
And so like everybody starts to split ways as like Douglas manages to get the other adults to go somewhere like where they think is safe. Unfortunately, it's other parts of the Steady Wing ship.
Yep.
And meanwhile, he manages to get the kids to get onto an escape pod.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he has to stay behind.
Yeah.
Because he has to make sure that the escape pod door shuts.
Yep.
While these Nihil are coming up on him.
Mm-hmm. Another thought of mine that happened across the book, aside from my growing dislike of the Nihil, was they're just kids. They're just kids. Damn it.
Yeah, it explains why the emotions are going to get pretty sky high soon.
Yeah. So they go.
Yeah, and of course, being the Jedi that Vern and Emery are, they know that everybody's dead.
Know. Honesty is
to
hold out.
Honesty is going through. He's going through the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
My boy, he is like he hits that denial stage real hard, where he's like, nah, they're not dead.
Oh.
Emery also hits that stage though, to be fair.
Yeah,
like Emery senses that, and he knows, like, he's like, I don't feel my master, he's dead. But no, he's not. No, he's not.
Like, it's that I know he's dead, but I really don't want him to be.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Like, it's that difference between the two of them, where honesty is like, my dad might be alive, hopeful. But
that doesn't last long.
Yeah, but with Emery, it's like, I know the truth, but I wish I didn't.
Yeah. And, of course, Vern tries to explain it very calmly. Like, yeah, they're... Like, she tries to be sympathetic about it, but, like, it's really hard to, like, share that info.
Yeah. There is a brutal fucking moment, and I think it happens, like, as soon as they get planet side, fucking Avon.
Yeah, Avon's issue is she doesn't know how to, like, she knows what to say, but not how to say it.
Yeah. It's both very funny, but also so fucking sad and brutal.
Oh, is it about Honesty's dad?
Yeah. After a bit of hardship, because apparently it fucking rains acid on this planet.
Well, let's get to the planet, because there's a few things to note. Honesty cries himself to sleep.
Yeah. Need a good cry sometimes.
Yeah, which, that's healthy, though.
Yeah.
And honestly, and it might be why Emery's dealing with his issue, because he just didn't let it out healthfully. He just kept it. But yeah. So they land, like you said, they managed to land. They've got the droid with them, J6.
Yeah. They've also got another one who is a scouting?
They haven't found it yet. Well, Avon's found it, but hasn't, like, told anybody yet.
Yeah.
Avon finds a scouting droid that she doesn't tell anybody about yet.
She put it in her backpack. I don't know how people didn't notice that. Except they did, but it was like, why is your backpack fucking huge?
Yeah, why is your bag so big? Why is it so full looking? What's in there? What is it?
They're like, another thing, and this has no relevance to the story aside from it being connected to Avon, who Avon fucking hates Joppa stew.
Yeah, which is only relevant in the sense of that's the only food that they have.
Yeah, and she hates it.
And it's because when she was younger, she was stuck somewhere, and that was the only thing they had.
Yep.
And she ate that for days.
I
think they were on Coruscant, and
probably.
they were on Coruscant because her mom had business there, and all they had was Java stew, and she was like, I hate this, and I will never eat this again.
Well, about that.
That's all you've got.
Yeah.
The irony. But yeah, so things to note. The ship does not have their communications.
Yeah, that's gone.
they barely got their mapping.
Yeah.
Because, in fact, Emery has to use the Force
just to find
the next planet to go. Yep.
Safe in big air quotes.
Which they don't even find a planet; they find a moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forget what the term is that they use. Star finding. That's it.
Yeah.
So
good on Emery for at least getting them somewhere.
Yeah, it wasn't civilization. Which key thing to note about traveling right now? They are not using hyperspace.
No, they're not. They just have to do it
because currently the locks on hyperspace are on.
The old hyperspace grenade.
Yeah.
So
the emergencies are going on. So obviously, currently, hyperdrive is on lockdown. So they've been traveling at regular speed, which is why the Nihil were able to so easily take the steady wing. And even if they wanted to use hyperspace,
they would
the escape pod is the hyperspace. The engine for the escape pod is broken.
Yeah. So
they can't.
They can't.
So even if they wanted to.
Basically, like using Emery as their GPS.
Yeah, because they're like, they figure, well, we haven't gone too far away from civilization, so let's try to find somewhere that's, let's try to find our way back. Essentially.
It takes them a while, though.
Yeah.
Like a day or two.
And it takes a lot of his energy. A
lot of energy. So, to review, Honesty's father is gone.
Emery's master is gone, which is basically a father. In fact, Avon and Honesty kind of make that connection. They're like, oh, yeah, that's like a father.
Yeah.
Because Emery describes what a master does, and they're like, oh, that's exactly what a dad does.
Yeah. So,
which does not help Emery's emotions whatsoever.
No.
That's pretty much the major. Oh yeah, and the Nihil survived.
Yeah, they survived.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the scenario we're in.
Yep.
So eventually they find this moon. They don't know the name of it yet.
Yeah. However.
Well, they land on it first. And so they're like, okay, now we need to look for civilization. And so the Jedi are like, well, whatever we do, let's avoid the forest then, and we'll go around this way. I think it's through the mountains.
Yeah, they're like, forest or mountains. Well, the forest looks creepy as fuck. So how about we go to the mountains?
Yeah, they basically pull a Lord of the Rings, and they're like, we're gonna do the mountains.
Yep.
Which, that's not ever a good choice. And so, of course, Avon, not trusting them whatsoever, is like, well, I'm going to secretly use my probe droid to look for a better place.
Yeah.
And so she uses her probe droid and finds out that, yes, going through the forest is better because there's going to be a huge rainstorm. And they figure, well, at least going through the forest will avoid rain hitting us, and we can stay dry, and it will be easier on the supplies. We'll get to that in a bit because they don't know that info yet.
I don't know that.
And she points out her information that she's found because she has a kind of these binoculars that lets her see what the droid sees and has the information of the droid. Basically, you get the HUD, essentially. Yep. And so she shows them, and she's like, see, there's this rain coming, and we want to go this way to avoid it. And she makes a pretty good case that even Vern's like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Mm.
So they go that way, and it turns out that was for the best. Because then the rain does come, and oh boy, it's an avalanche of rain.
Yeah.
And then they find out
just be regular rain. No, that would be too nice.
They learn that the rain is acidic.
Yeah, and not like
real world acidic rain where you just got a little bit of bad water. No.
Actual acid.
Like melt your skin acid. Yeah.
They discover this the hard way.
Yeah, because they tried continuing to walk
and then they're like, "Ow, fuck, this burns." And they're like, "Oh."
And then they realize, "Oh, it's a good thing we went through the woods though, because basically there's now a waterfall of acidic rain flowing through." And they're like, "If we had gone through the mountains, we would have been caught up in that.
We'd have died.
We would be dead."
I don't think the Force can fix that.
It would have let us stay alive longer, but Honesty and Avon would be dead.
And so they go and they find this cave that's
Yeah,
kinda
because they're
sheltered.
like, okay, we need to find shelter.
Yeah.
Because obviously we can't just keep walking in this.
Yeah,
Like,
because that's not gonna work.
no. So they find a cave. And we get a little more of, the
A little
characters getting to know each other.
conversation.
Yeah.
And then I think comes the line from Avon, where she just goes over to Honesty,
And this is with the best of intentions.
and she's like, "Your dad's dead."
And she doesn't.
She means it.
She means well.
She means well. But it doesn't help.
Yeah. I love Avon to a degree. Like, she means well.
She means well, but it's never handled. It's like,
Yeah, and like to the point where Honesty's like, I don't know who I dislike, like who I don't trust them more, the Jedi or this crazy scientist girl. Like Honesty's like, because we get the inner monologue for all these characters, and Honesty's just kind of like, who am I friends with? Because these are both options are not great.
yeah, he's like, I fucking wish I could go home.
Yeah, he just wants to go home. He wants his dad, but he can't have that.
Yeah.
So at the very least, he wants his mom.
Yeah, Honesty's like, why did I fucking agree to this? Oh wait, I didn't.
Yeah, like there's actually during the cave moment, he has his resent moment because he's like very resentful to his dad at first,
Yeah, and then he's like,
that's
Oh.
not fair to him.
that's not fair. And also, the last thing I told my dad was basically,
Basically, I hate you.
I hate you, and I can never like
Undo that.
undo that.
It's the common trope of the last thing I said was not great, and now what? And
Now
it's one of those
Yeah.
tropes. It's a common trope,
Yeah.
especially for like kids media.
Meanwhile, Imri is
Kind of in a similar spot where
similar.
where he's having also similar like, man, my master's dead. Now what?
Yeah.
And he's also like trying to figure out a plan.
Oh.
Like they're also trying to formulate a plan to get off.
Yeah. A real quick thing,
Yeah.
and this goes.
Oh, this goes back to when they're in the woods.
Yes.
Uh,
They're having to fucking cut through the woods to get to this cave.
and we should discuss Emery's lightsaber.
So Imri's lightsaber is having a problem.
Yeah, he hasn't quite figured out how to align his crystal in a way
Yeah.
where the blade will actually cut easily. Like right now, it's almost like using a butter knife.
It works, but I never thought the issue. I don't
Like
think
because
the
they
issue-
mentioned that he can cut through plants, but anything stronger than that,
Yeah.
it's gonna.
I don't think
gonna
the
struggle.
issue is with the
But it's not
saber
just that.
itself.
No, it's not. And he knows that, and Douglas knows that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of it has more to do with
The user.
it's the spiritual side of it.
Then it's more to do with the user than the weapon.
Yes, he essentially hasn't to put it in D&D terms. He hasn't what's the bonding term that they use?
He hasn't attuned.
He hasn't attuned to it. He hasn't attuned to his weapon yet.
Yeah.
And
And
it's very common in
Yep.
Star Wars that for lightsabers that's how they work. You find your crystal because you're attuned to the crystal from the start,
yeah.
and then you build your lightsaber around that, which once again you're essentially attuned to it from the start. But because of Emery's because of what we spoke of
Imri
earlier,
is like self-doubt.
Emery's self-doubt, that's kind of
It
led to him
doesn't
creating a
work.
self-doubt weapon.
Yeah. Vernestra is fine.
On the other end.
On the other end of the spectrum, she had like a crazy dream one night.
And she's like, oh, there's a cool new design I can put on my weapon.
Yep.
It's a light whip.
Yeah.
Light whips are canon, baby.
Yeah. And this actually, for a little bit, she's like, I don't know if I should show this to Imri,
Yeah.
actually, because it might drive him down the dark side.
Well, it's
or
not
some
even
shit.
that. It's more of like, she's worried that people will think she's going down the dark side.
Well, there's that too, I suppose.
Which is why she hasn't even shown Stellan.
Yeah.
Which she's had time to show him, and she has not.
Hmm.
But yeah, I want to go
Shit.
back a few chapters, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's fun. So in hindsight, and it's going to become funnier in hindsight for you,
Mhm.
I'm just going to say this now. Remember the part, for future reference, remember the part where Avon wanted Vern to fly the ship. This is out of context now, but remember that when we get to later media that has Vern.
Okay.
It's because it becomes a funny joke to me, and it will be a funny joke to you when you realize something later.
Is it because Stellan can't fly?
Oh yeah, because they mention that, don't they?
No, I just assume Stellan like can fly, but he fucking hates it.
Vern is terrible at flying.
Oh,
I guess I'll give it away now. She breaks so many ships that in a future book, one of the Jedi Dockmaster is like, you can't have any more ships.
I think it's about the time that you break the fourth one that they're like, no more. You're not allowed to.
Like, Comac has to help her get the next ship that she can use.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be I'm trying to remember which book it's in, but yeah, okay, it's coming up. It's not in the next book, but yeah.
But she's like, I have a light whip.
Yeah, which now makes light whips canon. They were in Legends.
And he's like,
they're very hard to use and generally are
actually
They're usually connected to the dark side a bit. Usually, there's only a few light side people that have used it, and that's actually an argument that Vern makes. She's like, it's not always evil.
Just most of the time. Not always, mostly, but not always.
Yeah.
And so Emery's like, oh, thank God, I don't have to I'm getting tired.
And in a way, also, Emery's like, yeah, because Emery doesn't judge her on that.
Yeah. They actually have a weird, history discussion. But then they get to the cave and all the other stuff happens.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, it's time for us to sleep. Because it's just been going crazy. And so, a brief thing about Avon. Avon's thing, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know if I was just mentally putting stuff together. I think the reason why she's been sent... Avon's thing is that she's a little bit disconnected from her parents.
Yes. Because she's not really a huge into the politics stuff.
Yeah.
She gives a really good speech on the steady wing before everything went down, but that was about it.
And she doesn't like it.
No. And she also is one of those it's not really a disconnect from her end, it's her parents that are kind of... So what she does is she does the thing that children sometimes do when their parents don't pay attention to them. She acts out.
Yeah.
And it just so happened in this last time of acting out, things didn't go well.
Yeah, and her mom was like, I have the perfect place for you.
Yeah. And so she sends her to be with the Jedi.
Yep. And the Outer Rim in Heliop?
Haley. The Haley. Something like that. Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
But anyways.
To the Heliop system. And is like, I don't like it here. Because I can't do the stuff that I want to do.
Also, it's boring here. Because it's the Outer Rim.
So that's her deal. And she's having
Heliop. The Heliop.
Yeah. She's having flashbacks to to some event as she's dreaming.
Yeah.
In Honesty's cried himself to sleep.
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, and they kind of have but he's not asleep this time because Avon actually comes into his room and is like, hey, I know you're not asleep. Because they discuss family stuff at that point, and they're both dislike of the Jedi that they're with.
And so that happens. I don't know what the fuck Emery's doing.
Emery is at this point just seething because we're starting to get to the point because this book is really fast. We almost because we're already halfway through. Because basically the rest of this book takes place in the cave and then out, and then some stuff that happens immediately after, and then we're gone. Because at this point, Wreath is starting to want revenge on them. Or sorry,
where the hell did he go?
Sorry, wrong character. Same idea, wrong character.
Yep.
Emery.
Imri is kind of like,
He's kind of wanting that, even though he knows it would be.
He's like, it's not Jedi to want revenge.
He also knows it would disservice Douglas's memory.
However,
somebody else also wants it.
Honesty is fucking going crazy over there.
Honesty is even worse than Emery when it comes to wanting it.
Because, like,
to the point that it's actually feeding into Emery's own. Like, because Emery's like, wait a minute, this isn't my rage.
Well, Emery's is...
Like, Emery knows he's angry, but he's also like, wait, this level's not mine.
Yeah. While Emery is, like, a fire, Honesty's over here like a fucking inferno.
Yeah. And so Emery, this is one of the few times where Emery is able to acknowledge,
he's like whoa, that's a bit much.
Like, and it's also one of the few moments where he acknowledges where the emotion is coming from.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see that Emery knows how to control it a little better.
And Vernestra, I think
she's trying to be a good leader, but
she's trying to, but at the same time, her inexperience is showing, since she hasn't had to do this before.
You could say she's a little green.
Yeah, she's a Moralian. They're green. just no sell that.
I had to try. But we were saying, yeah.
But yeah.
About her leadership.
Like, she's struggling because she's never had to do this before.
Yeah.
And
I mean, at least she had a good, like, mentor to kind of...
Not from what I've seen. I haven't seen Mentor Stellan. I've just seen him in Crisis mode.
Yeah, but I mean, Stellan has shown that he has leadership qualities, which is what I
have not seen.
I would argue in the book he holds down pretty well.
No, I didn't see him as a mentor figure. I saw.
Yeah.
That's why I mean I don't know what his school of mentoring was.
That's
like.
true.
Because there are times when people can be good at certain things and really.
But what I mean, but at least she had a good teacher to show her what a leader can be like. Is what I meant. Where I was going with that.
In that regard, yes, but I don't know what his teaching method was.
Yeah. Fair. But yeah, so Emery decides, hey, well, we should do, since he brings up the idea to Vern, and it's like, hey, we should probably do something about these Nihil, because they learn what the Nihil are through, like, I think Honesty mentions it, because he's like, oh yeah, we've been dealing with pirates for a while, and Nihil are one of those sects of pirates that we fight all the time. They're really annoying.
Yeah, he's like, I just kind of wish they would go away.
Kind of how you are about it.
Yeah, I'm like, at this point, could you just...
You and Honesty would be the best of friends.
I'd probably, actually, yeah. However, I will say this.
But Vern, basically, she puts that idea down. She's like, nope.
She's like, not...
We can capture them, but we can't,
you're skipping ahead a little bit.
Oh, am I?
So there's one key thing that happens.
Oh, yeah. There's something that sets off them wanting that.
So... The day before,
because I forgot to mention when they see that the Nihil are on the planet.
Yeah, so there are like 3. I'm gonna say they're on the planet for like three days.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They're on there for like 3 days on their own, I think.
Yeah.
On day 2, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna be here for a while. We're running out of water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And Honesty proving his worth.
Yeah.
Because
he's a survivalist, essentially.
He's basically like, I need to know. He was training to be like a field medic. And
because on day 2, they come outside.
And they're like...
because the rain has stopped. And they see all these other animals there, and they're like, okay, we need to find water. But what are we going to drink? We can't drink acid water.
And Honesty is thinking about it. He's like, okay, what did my teachers tell me?
Oh, yeah, water comes from other places.
Water can come from other places.
And also animals are going to find it.
Yeah. So he's, looking at the animals, and he's like, oh, they've just been eating the fruit from the trees all the time. So he's like, how about we just go and take some of the fruit?
Yeah, so he takes the fruit from this monkey-like creature and just grabs it out of their paw, essentially.
He was like, guys, I found water.
And, of course... they're not sure about that because they're like, there could be acid water in that.
They bring it to J6, who is like, yeah, I can make sure of it.
Although she's being sassy about it because at this point she's getting more sentience as the book goes on.
Yeah.
Something that Avon is kind of proud of, but also like, what did I do?
Yeah. As a person who has done the exact in like tabletop games, who has done the exact same thing that Avon has done, it is both a great thing to see and also very scary.
Because you don't know which way they're like.
Yeah, because you don't know.
But also that you could be about that with anybody.
Yeah.
Like people you don't know.
Yeah.
That's just the reality.
That's just one of those things.
And so yeah, J6 is like, yeah, I'll check this.
And she smashes it. It's safe.
Yep. My sensors have read that it's fine.
Yeah.
Way to be dramatic about it, J6.
And so
we sure J6 isn't a theater kid?
I think she might be. If a droid could be a theater kid, she might be.
But yeah, so they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So they gather some of it, and in doing so, while they're walking through the forest, Emery picks up
gets
one
a
of
friend.
he picks up a friend, a monkey friend, that he names Chimry.
Yeah. And so they're like,
oh, okay,
because it rhymes.
Yeah, because it rhymes. Honesty's like, that's a cool name.
Mm-hmm. And so they're all like, yeah, we got water.
We got a pet.
We got a pet. Things are looking up.
It's almost like it's like watching Star Wars kids do that like reality TV show where those kids had to create their own town. Except at least the Star Wars kids aren't drinking bleach, but
yeah.
Oof. Just acid water.
Well, they're not drinking that either. They're not that dumb.
So
they go and they're like, okay, things are looking better. We won't die of thirst within like 3 days, so that's good.
Yeah.
How do we get help? Since our beacon thing isn't working.
Yeah, since we can't, communicate.
Yeah. And so they're like, hey, Emery, can you do that life detecting thing again? And he's like, yeah, sure. And they do, and it works, which is good. So they're like, let's go follow this.
I'm not gonna say.
So they continue, and they're like, following. Hopefully things will be good. And so Emery goes, along with Vern.
Yeah.
Honesty and Avon are back at the cave.
Yeah.
And so Emery and
because just in case,
Vern
worst case
and
scenario.
Emery, are like, okay, here we go. And they see the Nihil, and Emery's little buddy Chimry sees the ship too, and decides, since they don't know any better, to just go up there. And Clyneth and Gwishy have been having a day, and they are sick of these handsies, as I think Avon decides to call them.
Yeah.
Since they're like these 6-armed monkeys.
Yeah.
Decides to go in Chimry, and I think it's Gwishy. Gwishy is so tired of these monkeys getting on their ship and like stealing their food and everything that he shoots him and tosses Chimry's body back out.
Which I don't think, if I remember correctly, they didn't. Vern and Emery managed to not be seen during this entire sequence.
They managed to not be seen. They're good.
But they do see this, and of course they're like, oh, these aren't good people.
Yeah.
And I think Vern also starts to realize that she recognized Gwishy.
Yeah, she recognizes Gwishy. I'm like, oh man, Vern. Is this going to be in your report?
Well, we at least know one thing that's later on that's in the report.
Yeah. And so Emery's over here like, we should get them like right now.
Yeah.
And Vern's like, no.
No.
No. Not right now.
We're going to get help.
I'm going to go get help.
So they do manage to make the call, because that's important.
Nope.
Well, no.
They don't do this.
Oh, yeah, after.
It's
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
So they go back and regroup with the others.
Yeah, but they do realize that they need to get the group to get rid of these, to capture these two is the plan.
To capture them.
And
they're like, we're going to do it in the morning.
yeah, so we're going to rest tonight, do it in the morning.
Yeah.
Two of these people, actually 3 of these people do not get rest.
Yeah.
Emery and Honesty are both seething with anger.
Yep.
And neither get rest.
Neither one of them.
So Emery's like, you know what? I'm sick of these Nihil.
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm pulling an Elzar, which hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, which hasn't happened yet.
And I'm gonna, because I'm doing it for the good of the people. Because if we're Jedi, we should be doing what the people want. Who are we to decide what's right?
Yeah.
And so he basically goes over.
Also, they killed my friend.
Yeah, on top of that.
And my master.
And my master.
Like, within 2 days.
Yeah, not even a week.
Not even a week of each other.
So
They John Wicked him. Not quite, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They shot
the monkey wasn't from his dead wife.
His dead wife, but damn.
So yeah, so now I'm gonna always think that Emery is the John Wick of Star Wars.
He's not, but
so Emery goes to Honesty, and he's like, "I know you're not asleep.
I know you're not asleep. Want to help me go kill those guys?" And Emery is like, "Can you use the Force on the way there?" And Emery's like,
"Yeah,
no."
Oh no.
He just straight up tells him no.
Oh yeah, because he can't be, because he knows that if he does, Vern will notice.
It's
also, he's not confident in it at the moment because he's just too angry that he's just like, murder.
Yeah.
Like, he's not thinking about it. Like, the Force is not on his mind.
Yeah, no. It isn't. But it's like, I don't need it since I can feel the amount of just anger from Honesty that it's more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
And
so yeah, him and Honesty go off into the...
Yep.
To go face the Nihil. Not long after, Avon and Vern notice that they're gone.
Missing.
Vern immediately kind of puts it together.
Yeah.
And so she's like, all right, well, let me go deal with this.
Stay here.
Which, of course, she doesn't.
And she's like, how about I send J6 to go with you? J6 is apparently not just an android, she is also a bodyguard, and she is packing heat.
Yep.
A lot of it, actually.
That was actually not a Avon change. That was her mom did.
Her mom did this.
Which, knowing her mom, that makes sense.
Yeah. What happened? Oh, we gave the droid 4 guns. 4 arms and 4 trigger fingers in case anything went wrong.
Yeah, which they kind of they mentioned that like there was a scare a while back, and that's why her mom did that modification.
Yeah. Everyone's like, I didn't do this one.
Yep.
And so J6 goes out and pretends to be malfunctioning so that they can get the drop on the Nihil, who have at this point captured Emery and Honesty. And so
yeah, because that fight didn't go well.
It works.
Yeah.
At this point,
somehow they managed to get them out of being caught.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Emery's like, I did not learn my lesson. I'm still gonna go for him.
Mm-hmm.
Vern says, no, I'm gonna stop you here from doing that,
yeah.
and pulls out her light whip to do so. Because that's the only way to stop him.
Yeah.
And neither of them want to actually kill each other?
No, not really.
Like, Emery's like, I'll beat you up, but I won't kill you.
Yeah. Emery's over, like, force choking the lady. I think it might be because the Guishi's already, like, out.
Yeah, Guishi's already, like, unconscious at that point.
Yeah. And he's like, Emery's like, I just gonna kill you now.
Yeah.
Because I'm so pissed off.
Yeah, and that's when Vern, like, is like, nope, you're gonna fight me.
Yeah.
And they have this moment of just fighting and debating over the Force and Jedi things. And Emery at this point is like, they don't even want me after this.
Yeah. They're not going to want me after this, so...
And of course Vern's like, that's not true.
That's not how that works. We're not going to kick you out over one mistake.
Yeah. So she manages to talk him down.
Yeah.
And so Emery's kind of brought back to the light, but it's very much it's a Elzar thing where he's like,
I'm not sure this is...
Where he's like, I'm not quite confident in this after that.
Yeah.
Where, like, Elzar, like, I guess a better example would be to use somebody that you know of, like, specifically like an event that you know into the dark. It's what's his name, the older Jedi, the one that's Reith's like brother essentially, the one who takes the vow. It begins with a D.
Fuck, what's his name?
I got it. It's my job as producer to know this. Anyways, it's kind of a similar situation though, where it's like, I don't know if I deserve to be a Jedi now.
The thing that I think with that specific example, while I agree that he should, like, with that specific...
Yeah, that one, he took the vow, and you were like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. However, for
Emery,
I don't...
It's fine. You don't need to look it up. I got it.
Yeah, whenever...
Yeah, you just focus on what you're trying to get your point on.
With him, I think it was a case of, like... Because he didn't fall...
He let his emotion... Well, neither did.
No, Emery 100% did it on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I thought we were talking...
That case
for the other guy, yeah.
For the other guy, Reith's, like, brother...
Yeah.
He didn't willingly fall. He'd been, like, tortured and drugged for, like, a month.
Dez.
Dez had been, like, tortured and drugged for, like, 2 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Unlike Emery, who did it willingly.
Yeah. So Emery definitely has more of an argument of, I could be kicked out for this.
Yeah, whereas with Dez, it was like, these are the circumstances.
But I think also... Emery's a child.
Yeah.
So they're going to probably give him a little more leniency.
Yeah.
Whereas if Dez had done this exact situation...
If it had been Dez, considering Dez is like an adult and also a knight at this point in time, he would definitely have been in trouble.
Maybe not kicked out, but definitely like reprimanded and maybe punished in some way.
Yeah.
Because Jedi aren't gonna kick people out.
Yeah,
that's just not what they do. And that's made clear by, like they like unless you become a dark Jedi or a Sith, you ain't getting kicked out.
Yeah, unless you go super hard and not
learn
than a one-time thing.
Yeah, and you don't learn your lesson, you're not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you still stand your ground on what you did, then you'll get kicked out. But they're not gonna kick out people that are willing to undo their mistakes.
Let's see.
So yeah.
So after that.
So that's how they essentially take down the Nihil in a very like out of the way. Like we didn't like.
It takes less than like 3 pages.
Yeah, like that's the incidental thing.
Yep.
The real focus was the emotional impact on Emery and everybody.
Emery and honestly have just had the shittiest week.
Yeah, it's really about it's more of the internal conflict that this book is about. The external conflict's there to just drive that.
Yeah. And so they're like, okay, now we're just going to wait for the Jedi for like 2 days.
Yeah, like they make a call and they're like, hey, we're here.
We're here. Could you guys send somebody out to help us? And they're like, yeah.
And they send Skier.
Yeah. And they're like, please don't. Avon is like, Trandoshans can grow their limbs back, right?
Yeah, because this is after he's lost his limb.
And Vern's like, please don't ask Master Skier why he lost his arm. He's like, no, I'm not going. I just thought you should know. I'm like, thanks, okay. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dr. Avon.
Yeah. And she's like, Emery is over here, like, still sulking.
Yeah, because he's still worried.
He's like, oh, fuck.
And of course, this is by the point that like they're on the ship
Yeah.
and they're making their way. Like I think they've actually made it to Starlight Beacon at
Yeah.
this point.
And she's like, "Hey, what happened?" And he's like, "Oh, I went and I fell." He's like,
Yeah.
"I lost it a little bit at the end there."
Yeah, and he's like, I didn't mean to, but I did.
Yeah. And Avon's like, "Well, what was it? Can I look at your lightsaber or something?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Sure, it's cut in half though." And she's like, "Great."
Can I keep it?
And he's like, "I'm not gonna.
I'm not gonna need it. I'm not gonna be a Jedi anymore.
So yeah, I guess."
And she's like, ooh, even better.
She's like, "Not only did I get a lightsaber, but it's broken."
And I got the Kyber crystal.
And so that happened.
And thus her study of that began.
And Honesty's over here. He's like, "Well, I'm gonna go and talk to the court
Yeah.
about the Nihil and
Yeah,
about,
because they were captured.
yeah, and about their punishment because they deserve it."
Yeah, the Dellen delegation essentially will deal
Yeah.
with it.
And so that's what
And
he
I think the
does.
Dellen are going to join the Republic based on
Yeah,
how things
I think
sound.
so.
We never get confirmation in this book.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, yeah, they're going to join. It's going to be a rough join because they're like, they lost a leader, but it's like after once they discuss what happened on that planet.
Things will go
Yeah.
smoothly, hopefully.
And so Vern, meanwhile, is talking to Skier, basically trying to figure out what's going to happen to Emery.
Yeah. And he's like, "Why don't you?" And he's like, "Why don't you go and
Train him yourself.
train him yourself?" And she's like,
I can do that?
"I can do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, you pulled him back from the dark, and it's not, and going to the dark isn't like a one and done thing. It's a choice every day."
Yep. It's based on the choices you make every day.
Yeah. So maybe you should go and ask him.
Yeah. Maybe you'll be the best choice for somebody to guide him now.
Yeah. And so when she comes back, he's like, "Am I in trouble? Do I need to pack my things?" And she's like, "No. As a matter of fact, I got a question for you."
You want to be my apprentice?
He's like, "What?"
I tried to kill you.
"I tried to kill you like
Not even a day ago.
earlier this morning." And she's like, "Well, you didn't."
And also, like, I pulled you back.
Yeah, so it's fine.
You're not evil.
You're not evil.
You just made a bad choice.
Yeah. And he's like, "Sure, I guess. I gave Avon my lightsaber though, so
It's like, okay, well, you'll build a new one.
don't worry about that. We can make a new one."
I think No, not yet.
I assume he does somewhere
he
later
does.
in another book.
He does.
But not right now.
See, my problem is I'm also blending other books in my
Yeah.
memory, but yeah. So, no, he doesn't build one in this one yet.
Yeah.
But they do end on the Starlight Beacon ceremony.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he says yes, obviously. He's like, okay, cool. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
They basically see it as, like, two best friends teaching each other. Because Vern also sees this as a moment for her to learn also.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, you'll be teaching me and I'll be teaching you, so we're good.
Yep. Earlier, I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
And I initially had some misgivings about it. I was like, I think Vern will make a fine Jedi Knight. I'm not sure about a Master, though, but given time to reflect upon it, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Like, I think I've seen a little bit of her Master, of course, because I've already seen, like, what happens, like, this relationship. It's like any Master, like, you're going to have your ups and downs.
Yeah.
And in the case for her, it's going to be a learning thing of, like, this is my first apprentice. I'm also 16.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, initially, I think this is a really bad choice because I would want somebody with experience.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, and I guess technically you can never have a first master with experience. But I mean, like, when I say that, I mean somebody who's been a Jedi long enough to, like,
Yeah.
teach being a Jedi. Whereas she literally just got knighted.
I think it's been like
A year, maybe.
a year or two at best.
Which, that's still fresh.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's also why I was having misgivings about it.
But at the same time, what better way to learn to
Yeah.
be a master than to just
Than to
dive
just
in?
do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will work out fine.
Hey, at least. Yeah. Yeah, there's that.
But
yeah.
Yeah,
I
hope
guess
it
we'll
works
find
out.
out.
I'll find out later.
Yep. All right.
And that's where that book ends.
Yeah, and that's the end of Test of Courage by Justina Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking to see what all was on here. There's nothing else. So final thoughts on it? Obviously, this is for a younger reading age, but for what it is, I would give it a 7.5, maybe an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
I mean, because it does what it's supposed to.
It does.
And it definitely kept me entertained.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and it's a quick read. So if you just want to read a good book, just for like, it's something you can finish in maybe a day, honestly.
Yeah,
if you just
I
sat
think it's
down,
fine.
like if you just sat down and wanted to read something, like if you have nothing else to do for the day,
It's a good book.
And honestly, it feeds into everything else that we're going into. So, and it has good character development. It brought us the light whip into canon, which I am happy because the light whip is a cool weapon. It's one that has a lot of potential. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how she decides to tell other people about it, or if she decides to tell other people about it, because that's her journey.
Yeah. All right.
And our next book is a book that just came out, Midnight Horizon. So we're going back to Wave 3. So but the good news is we finished Phase 1.
All right.
Or Wave 1. We finished Wave 1. So all the Wave 1 main books are done. The only thing we didn't read from Wave 1 were the comics that came out during Wave 1, but that's because, like, they kind of mix with the waves.
I see.
It's not like a hard stop sort of deal. It's like a lot of stuff that's in Phase 1 comics Wave 1 comics leads into Wave 2. So we'll read those as we get to them.
All right. What am I?
But yeah, we're jumping into Midnight Horizon. It looks like Reith and Comac are on the leads based on the cover. It's by Daniel Jose Older, who I like. He's very good. He's done some of the other High Republic stuff as well that you haven't read yet. He's done Race to Crash Point Tower, which is the next book in the junior novels. He's also worked on the High Republic mainline comic, as well as the Adventures comic a little bit. So he's been on both, I think. So, and while these reviews are for the High Republic in general, and for Race to Crash Point Tower, his last book, I have a good feeling.
All right.
So, the opposite of Star Wars line, that famous Star Wars line.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling.
All right.
So, I guess we'll see you guys next week with that. And we're going to be here longer next week, but I guess we'll tell them why next week.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you really like our content, check out the Patreon, which is linked down below if you're on YouTube. In the case of if you're not on YouTube, the Patreon is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. The first tier will give you access to the Discord where Seth and I are there.
Yeah.
I haven't decided on how to give access to our specific chat for Star Wars Escape Reality Star Wars Talk yet. To like the tiers.
Yeah.
Because as you saw, somebody tried to get access to one of the chats this past week, and I had to give them a different access point to it. I'm probably going to change around. I'm going to try to make it to where you guys can chat with us specifically about the book we're reading about. I have to work out like the specifics for each because everybody has their roles in the chat.
Yeah.
I have to figure out the rules for all the roles and fix that. But more than likely, the first tier will give you access to hang out with us in that part of the chat. If not, you can talk to us in general, and we'll still chat about the same stuff there.
I might talk, I might not.
I probably will.
He will. He most likely will. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't.
It depends on the It depends on what I'm doing. And then so if you want to watch us on Twitch as well, it's twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94. If you're on Twitch, be sure to subscribe and follow. That subscribe is very useful to us because that money can go towards getting books like this, because I literally bought it today, the hardcover. The digital cover and audiobook I already had, but I needed the hardcover.
Oh.
That way we can present it on the show, and also I can read it. I can physically read it at work. It's a little easier to read this at work than reading the digital copy or listening to the audiobook. Same thing with Patreon. Any money you send there goes towards stuff like this, goes towards gear, goes towards talent. Eventually the goal is to make it to where basically I can pay you to be here and do this, but also pay myself. Pay myself first.
Yeah.
That's the first goal, but eventually pay the talent as well. Using the term talent, if you're worried. I felt like you were like self-doubting.
But that's fine.
It looked like you were having self-doubt there for a second.
You confused me.
Talent is the term.
Is that why there's a parentheses talent next to the name in the chat?
Yeah, that's the role.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the role. Talent is basically like actor, or it's another word for that essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, the talent.
Sorry. One of us
has the actual film degree.
One of us has a film degree. Another one of us does not.
Yeah. I wonder who. But all that money goes towards that stuff. Eventually, when we get enough money to where I'll eventually like start showing like where the budget's going. That way, because I feel like we should be open. For those on YouTube, like I said, like and subscribe to the channel. Also, special thanks to Mopcast Network and G&G for letting us borrow the studio.
Yeah, it's very kind of them.
Yes. Were you about to?
Motherfucker.
I was about to say, were you about to look at John? Johnny got him.
You fucking got. I didn't think he was gonna get me this time, but no.
I was waiting for it. And you can find Mopcast Network on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also find them on youtube.com/Mopcast Network, where you'll once again see my face. Because you
won't see me because I'm not part of that.
I help produce their shows. You can watch Cult Movie Cantina, where they talk about old movies. Have some drinks. Fun trivia, all that stuff. I think we just released an old live event, which you do not see my face in. But the next episode is going to just be a fun episode where we're going to have some drinks and I think have some other stuff. It's our off of movie week because they do a movie and then they do a hangout week. They call it the cult meeting on the off week. So that will be the cult meeting. And then the other show they do is Mando Mondays or My Star Wars Life. Currently it's it's currently Mando Mondays because Book of Boba Fett's going on. So you're going to see us soon talk about, on this upcoming Monday, talk about the most recent episode of Boba Fett, the penultimate, because we're almost near the end. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about. So definitely be sure to check them out. And if you're in the Mobile, Alabama area, check out Gamers and Geeks. It's a fun little gaming shop where you can get board games, you can get Magic the Gathering cards, D&D. They even have some Star Wars tabletop stuff here.
Yeah.
Most of what's here is Fantasy Flight, but I have seen the older stuff. Saga Edition has been here. I think they even had the West End Games D6 system. And so it's a good place. They've got an arcade in the back, $10 for the day, and you can play any game just about without. I think only one game uses coins, but they put up a sign so you know.
Yeah.
But the rest of the games you can just free play for the day after $10 payment. And there's also Engage Gaming that's connected to them, where you can do a rental and play like rent out a PlayStation or an Xbox or even a PC which we might have to do maybe for.
Oh, yeah.
That might be our solution for that episode,
Oh, yeah.
for a future episode of this, because I guess I'll throw out. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give a little sneak peek of something. It's not this upcoming week, but
No.
later in the month. And plus, I can promote it a little bit. I think.
Mm.
I think I don't know if she's confirmed to be on the show yet, but we might have our first guest on that episode.
Mm.
I haven't hard confirmed with her yet.
Well, I'd say get a hard confirm
Before announcing?
Okay.
But we're going to play the Old Republic because the new expansion's coming out. And so near the end of the month on that episode, that will be the episode after Book of Boba Fett. So we're doing, the order is going to be this, Book of Boba Fett, and then Old Republic for the new expansion. So I got to find a way for you to play the game. That might be one of our solutions. I haven't figured out yet, though.
Well, we certainly can't use my Chromebook for that now, can we?
No, we can't use your Chromebook. Chromebook definitely can't play SWTOR.
Nope.
But yeah, we might have our first guest.
Yeah.
It's a hard might though, because I'm pretty sure she'll be on.
When your parents say maybe we'll go to the park,
and then they go to the park,
and then they don't.
Oh no, it's not this. That's not this.
Oh.
This is more of a hard she'll probably be here. I just haven't like I told her what day and I told her the general time we start.
Yeah.
But I haven't been okay.
You haven't narrowed it.
I haven't been hey, you should be here at this time because obviously we're not close enough to where that's an issue yet.
All right.
I'll probably wait till the next week, the week before, to start being okay, this is when you should come hang out with us.
Yeah. To
be on the show. But yeah. All right, so you basically know the next 4 episodes, so that's a lot to look forward, or 3 episodes. So that's a lot to look forward to. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week with the High Republic Midnight Horizon.
Yeah.